What's up, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube? I'm Never a Dull Moment, and today we have a beautiful day down in wonderful Colorado Springs, Colorado. Now, it's been some pretty bad weather here lately, which is why I haven't really made a whole lot of content about riding the old Rebel around. But here we are. It's 65, sunny, not too much wind, just your ideal riding conditions. Now, I'd be lying if I said that the Rebel has been totally reliable. In fact, I was trying to make a little ride video on Friday, and this happened. Battery is dead. Bike just died. That's a big old shame. Excuse me? Is there any chance I could get a jump for my bike? A jump for my bike? Battery died?
That jump box?
Yeah.
Like a RC car.
Yeah, tiny little battery. Wonderful. Thanks, man. I did get a new battery. It's one of those where you gotta actually fill it up with acid and let it sit and then charge it up. So it's been firing up every time, so I'm not too concerned about that. I think we've fixed everything that is going to break on this bike. Aside from the mechanical problems, I do love these bikes quite a bit, and I think these are awesome bikes. I don't really like the term beginner bike very much. I think it just kind of comes across the wrong way, but I think this is a great first bike to have. It's honestly a great bike to have at any point in your riding career. And we're only going like 35. That's the funniest thing about these things. I mean, they're so fun to just romp around on. And you're not going fast, you're not being dangerous, you're just sort of having a good time. Now, something that I actually noticed, I don't know how I didn't notice this at the time, but the gas tank that I put on this bike is actually not a standard size. It's actually about 0.8 gallons larger. So the stock size is a 2.6, I believe it's a 2.6 gallon, and the one I put on here is a 3.4, which means that I do have a little bit more range. My trip meter isn't totally accurate. I didn't start that right when I filled it up with gas, but I should be able to get another, I think it should be about another, right around 50 miles, anywhere from like, I'm going to say anywhere from like 40 to 60, depending on how I'm riding. I don't necessarily expect to get every ounce of that MPG, but yeah, it's kind of nice. And the bigger tank does give it a nice feel, because the Rebels are quite small bikes, especially if you're a bigger dude. So I kind of like the look of it. I like the feel of it, and I think someone will be real happy with this. Let's see if I can't cut over. It's just the funny thing about the Rebels, you're just using all the power all the time, and there's not a lot of bikes that you can do that on. Like, you gotta switch lanes. It's like, all right, downshift, red line. You gotta start from a stoplight. Yeah, you're gonna start in first gear, red line it, and it's just such a funny sensation to have that. Because, I mean, a lot of bikes, if you're going to use all the performance, even if it's, like a 300, you're going to be going kind of fast. You're going to be a little bit reckless. But, I mean, an older bike like this, just air-cooled carb 250, you can just rip around all day. Let's see here. Yeah, we want to be pretty mindful. This is a kind of a high-traffic area. We got a lot of people that are trying to get around. I'll let this guy get over. There we go. We got another rider. A lot of Harley guys around here. It's actually a pretty good mix. I do see a good amount of Harleys in the Springs, but plenty of sport bikes, plenty of ADVs. I see some dirt bike riders, which I don't even know if they have if they're street legal bikes, but I do see like dirt bikes just on the road. And it's a nice community for riding. If I can kind of stagger myself over here. How's it going? Harley guy got ahead of me. Not in here for the fast game, just sort of cruising around. That's my style. I never go too nuts. I'm not a wheelie guy, I'm not a stoppy guy, I'm not a stunter. I just like cruising on around, having a good time. And most importantly, not driving. So you'll notice I'm doing a little bit of this weaving here as I'm riding along. And there's kind of two reasons for that. One of them is to get heat in the tires, because this, just kind of getting them warmed up for corners and that kind of stuff. And the other thing is also, it helps you be a little bit more visible when you got these cars all surrounding you. Motion is one of the things that people are most receptive to. Getting a little bit of wind here. Yeah, one thing with the Rebel is you really, I feel like it really teaches you to downshift. The brakes in this bike are not fantastic. And, I mean, half the time, I mean, you'll notice here as I'm riding along, a lot of the times if I need to slow down, I'll just immediately downshift, because that'll get you slowed down, kind of prep you for whatever's coming. And that's something, you have a bike that's very, very grabby on the brakes, very good stopping power, you might kind of not develop that skill. So there's, you know, reason I really like these bikes. And it's, you know, I do like the style of this bike. I know it's kind of controversial. Some people think it looks ugly, or tiny, or girly. I like the way that this bike looks. Honestly, I think, you know, if you're looking for a bike that, like, really just does it for you, and, you know, you want a certain style, I get that. But I think a lot of guys, especially when they're getting into riding, they kind of want something that kind of puts off the right message to other people, I guess. They want something that looks tough. They want something that looks like a, you know, a quote-unquote real bike. And so they kind of make their choices based off of that. And I think that's a bad way to go about shopping for a bike, because there's neutral there. Let's see here. There it is. I think it's a bad way to go about shopping for a bike. And it's, you know, it's got enough pep. It's not fast, but you can have some fun on these. But yeah, I mean, I think people think, oh, I don't want to get a Rebel. People are going to think I have a girl bike and, you know, make fun of me and all this stuff. I mean, you can see, that Harley guy back there nodded to me. I don't know if he just thought it was funny, but it's like, who cares? We're all out here riding. We're all out here having a good time. And that shouldn't be a way that you make your decisions off of. And but in addition to that, if you're talking about non-riders, you know how they're gonna feel about you. Non-riders don't know a dang thing about bikes. I bet you that there's people out there that think that this is a Harley, just because it kind of looks, it's just like kind of a cruiser style, and they just kind of assume that if it's a cruiser style bike, then it's probably a Harley. People just don't know. They don't know the difference. And they're really not going to care. Oh, we got some wind going on here. I got to really give it the beans. See if we can get up to... trying to get up to 60 miles an hour right now. Just going up a hill. We're dropping speed. No. We're dropping speed. Let's try to sit at 50. All right. I mean, we're within the speed limit. I'm full beans, top gear, full throttle. That's why you don't want to take one of these on the highway. Oh man, but that's fun. What a fun bike. Oh man, it feels so good to be out riding. I've missed this. The weather's been so cold. I'm gonna decelerate a little bit because this guy might want to get ahead of me. Downshift. And I'm actually just going to go ahead and get in this lane because this is where I want to go anyways. But it's been so cold, the weather's been bad, there's been some snow, there's been gravel, there's been all this stuff. And all I've wanted to do is get out there and ride. And, man, it feels good. Just a little cruise around town, it changes my whole mentality. You know, it's so freeing. We're coming up here on my university. This is University of Colorado at Colorado Springs. So they have a couple of different campuses. There's also the CU Boulder, I think is the biggest, most well-known campus for University of Colorado. You can see the sign there. I'm gonna dip this in here. And now let's go on a little tour. Those are just the student housing down there. Those are kind of upperclassmen housing. Nice buildings. Over here we have the rec center. Kind of nice. There's actually pretty impressive building. They have some like health stuff that's over here. You know, you can come in for an appointment, that sort of thing. Up here is like the weightlifting area. They've got a nice gym. Down this way, you can actually kind of see, there's a pool you won't be able to see on camera here, but there's a pool in there that's really nice. And then we have a rock wall that's really cool. I used to go there all the time. Actually, that's the pool. The pool is right there. I couldn't mix around a little bit. But really, really nice amenities. You know, of course, university is so expensive these days, but one of the things you get is you know, it's not really just a school anymore. You get a lot of other benefits out of it. And that's one of them. Over here, this is, I believe this is Columbine Hall. This is where I spent a lot of my time. Actually, no, I'm getting mixed around again. That's some of the lower-classmen housing. Lower-classmen housing right there. And then this is Columbine Hall over this way. A lot of classes. That's like it's like a 4-story building. Well, I guess technically 3 stories. And then there's also kind of some classes that are underneath. It's kind of... The terrain's kind of hilly, so some of it's sort of below ground and some of it's above ground. And it's pretty nice. We got this big old parking structure here, which somehow manages to never have enough parking. We've got some academic offices. Spent a lot of time with the tutor over there. I'm doing exactly 20. Look at that. Right on the nose. We got a little roundabout here. Let's have some fun. Give it some beans in the roundabout. No one coming. Yep, get the knee down. Alrighty, a little stoplight. Bonk. And this is the library we have up here. This clock tower is kind of a big, anything with the university, you'll see a lot of that clock tower. It's kind of a big, what do you call it? Landmark, I guess is the word, landmark. Big library in there, and that's connected to some other buildings, kind of some of your other, like your clubs and that kind of stuff. Those buildings are going to be in there. We actually do have a little restaurant there's one place called Clyde's where you can actually grab a beer on campus, which is a nice little feature. So I know some guys I would do studying with, and sometimes we'd go over there and grab a beer and study for our classes. That was pretty fun. Centennial Hall, I forget what classes that one's for. But yeah, it's another building. Oh no, actually that's the science area. If you're like a bio major or a lot of different sciences, you're going to be in those classes. And then over here we have, this should be Dwyer Hall, and that's the business area. Yep. All right, we got no one coming. Dwyer Hall is where the business classes take place. I used to be a business major, but then I ended up transferring to economics. So I changed, but I spent a lot of time in this Dwyer Hall. Pretty nice building, pretty fancy. Let's see here. Downshift. There we go. Clutch control. Clutch control. I used to actually park my scooter right here. When I had a 50cc, it's illegal to park those in a bike rack, so I just plonked it right there, walked right on over to my class. I think it was actually quicker than driving, because I didn't have to park all the way at the other end of the campus. So that was pretty fun. One time I got a flat tire on my scooter. That was not super fun, but I worked something out. I've had more breakdowns than I'd care to admit. Most of them have been fairly minor and easy to fix, and I mean, I've had a bunch of different bikes, so it's inevitable. When you have bikes from the 80s, you're gonna have some problems. Just gotta roll with the punches. Here we go with this wind. I'm gonna get higher speed going downhill here. Just doing a nice 60. Probably don't need to go any faster than 60 anyways. See if I can get some tuck going here. There, let's get some tuck going there. Just gonna lean into this turn. Oh, yes. Wonderful. Wonderful. Oh, I feel like I'm on I feel like I'm flying. And I'm not even breaking the speed limit. Oh, I love these bikes. I love these bikes. It's like riding. Oh, it's great stuff. Wonderful, wonderful stuff. Don't let anyone tell you to not buy a Rebel. I gotta be careful with this guy. People being not mindful of their surroundings, but yeah, we're good. We good.
Alright guys, I think I'm going to wrap up the vlog right there. Thank you for watching. If this kind of content interests you, please give me a subscribe. Consider checking out the channel. I'm Dwyer Hall, and I'll see you guys soon. Stay safe out there.